Again, I am Ruth Shuman. I'm a program director in the I-Corps program here in the National Science Foundation. And I also just want to take a moment to introduce my colleague, Andre Marshall, who is also a program director, but not joining us today. Today I'm going to talk about the NSF I-Corps Teams program. So I hope you're all on the line waiting to hear about the Teams program. And again, thank you all so much for joining today. It's a pleasure to have you. Let me jump right in. So let me start by giving a little bit of history about the program. It's now been in existence for quite a few years. It was created initially in 2011. And as of the end of our fall cohorts, which just ended this week, we have over 1,700 teams that have participated in a national I-Corps program. And of course, you probably are on the line because you know that the purpose of the program is really to help you as teams reduce the risk associated with translating technologies from your research laboratories to the marketplace. That was the initial vision for the program, and that is really withstood the test of time. That is what we aim for today as well. The aims of the program really today are to help commercialize what we now call deep technologies. And of course, that is kind of a newer phrase, the phrase deep technologies, but we're really thinking about technologies that have resulted from fundamental discoveries in physical and life sciences. So especially aimed at university-developed research and companies that may be out there that are connected with universities. So we want to, in the program, help you address skill and knowledge gaps that you may have that are associated with transforming basic research into deep technology commercial ventures. Our goal in doing this is, again, to move forward the translation of the technology out of your research laboratories and into the marketplace. And we are particularly interested in deep technologies as these are the types of technologies that we fund at the National Science Foundation in our academic research programs. So we are particularly interested in having those technologies and technologies like those commercialized. Let me give you a little bit of our program statistics. So in results tabulated from our funding years 2012 through 2018, we had 3,745 individuals participate in the program, and that corresponds to 1,315 teams. So that is a lot of teams. And as you know, a team consists of 3 people, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Out of those teams, 644 startup companies were formed. So about half of the teams going through our program have converted that knowledge about the marketplace into a company, a startup company. And of those startups, they were able to attract $301 million in funding, and 195 of those startup teams received SBIR funding from NSF, which also is remarkable statistics. And 6 of those startups have actually now been acquired. When we look at the program basics, this is what you can expect. We really have put together a real-world, hands-on, experiential learning process that you will go through to accomplish customer and industry discovery. It's based on Steve Blank's Lean Launchpad course at Stanford, And it is a methodology or process to allow you to quickly assess the commercial interest and feasibility from the customer's perspective. So it allows you to obtain entrepreneurial training, especially in the areas of customer discovery, how to meet with customers, how to learn what they really want from the technology area that you're working in. So I have a little bit of an example for you in the next series of clicks in my slide. So very probably surprisingly to you, most academic spin-outs do not fail because of technology failures, but they fail because no one cares about the technology. And when I say no one, I mean there are no customers that care about the technology. So this course is really aimed at trying to solve that problem. So here you see our researcher developing technology and says, wow, everyone will want this. But in thinking about it, is it that customers want something else, something more efficient or smaller or maybe cheaper? And thinking more deeply about it, is this a big problem? What is the problem that this is solving for my customers? Or if this is not a big problem, is this something that's simply just nice to have? And these are the types of things that you really want to discover using the customer discovery process and interviewing customers. And again, the whole purpose of this program is to get you out of your research laboratories, get you off the university campus, and get you out into the real world in the industry areas that you're interested in. And the funding for our program really allows you to accomplish this by providing travel funds for you to travel both domestically and with approval from NSF also internationally to talk with those specific customers. So again, what is I-Corps? So I-Corps is approximately a 7-week intensive training program to get you out of the lab and to teach you how to actually evaluate market opportunity for the technologies that you're developing. And again, you'll travel to meet with customers. We actually require now that you target interviewing at least 100 customers during that 7-week period. I know that's going to sound like a lot today to you, but having just closed our fall cohort, I can tell you all of the companies in that, all of the teams rather in that cohort were over 100, and many of them, well over 100, some of them approaching 200 customer interviews during that 7-week period. And you will also, of course, have the opportunity to speak not only with what you currently think of as direct customers, but also partners and other stakeholders in this process. The framework that I-Corps uses, again, is the customer discovery method developed by Steve Blank and the business model canvas popularized by Alex Osterwalder. And I have the copy of the business model canvas. Many of you might be familiar with it. I would tell you that as participants that are probably new to this program will focus mainly on helping you identify customer segments and the value propositions associated with those customer segments during the 7-week course period. All right, now let me talk a little bit about some of the mechanics of getting into a national cohort. So first I want to talk about the formation of teams and the steps leading up to getting into a national cohort. I mentioned that you will come into the program as a team, so you might need to form your team. There are 3 members in a team. Entrepreneurial lead is kind of the key person on the team. It's usually a postdoc or a graduate student late in their program, about to graduate. But it's not an absolute requirement. I mean, sometimes we will allow exceptional undergraduate students. So don't, if you feel you fall into that category, don't be afraid to apply. But the entrepreneurial lead is the key person because they are the person that's really going to lead this team through the process. And they are the person that really is the interface between the instructors and the rest of the team. The technical lead is typically the faculty member at the university who would also serve as the PI on the proposal that's submitted. They are often the inventors of the technology, and they most likely have an interest in seeing the technology commercialized and also furthering that mentorship with their student or postdoc to help them discover the commercial value of the technology they've been working on. The third member of the team is the I-Corps mentor. And this is an industry person, an industry mentor. Usually they have knowledge about the industry that you're interested in and maybe have been an entrepreneur themselves and have developed companies in this technology area along the way. Sometimes the mentor may have experience in our I-Corps program, either at our regional I-Corps levels or the national level. That's also a big plus because they'll be able to help guide you through the process, especially initially when things are new and maybe a little bit confusing. So that is our typical team structure. The these 3 members are absolutely required. We do allow you to have co-ELs and or co-TLs on the team. That's also okay. We discourage you from having a 5-member team. A 5-member team is a little bit large and I think just more difficult to manage and communicate with. But certainly 4-member teams are very common. So if there's an extra member that you would like to add, please feel free to do so. And occasionally I have seen co-mentors as well. So that is also allowed, but that's a little bit more rare. All right, what is the next step? So you formed your team. The next step is to prepare an executive summary. So the executive summary portal is located on our website, and you can see the link at the bottom of my slide. You will want to probably prepare in advance the descriptions that are requested. So you'll describe your team members, and here again, this would be something like a short 1-paragraph bio for each team member, and certainly indicate the relationship to each other and hopefully to the university. You will also have a section to describe the technology, describe the commercial application, and the plans that you currently envision for that technology. Once you have prepared this, you will complete a form in this portal. The form will also ask for the contact information for each of the team members, and then you will submit the form through this portal. Once we get it, what happens is that you will be contacted to schedule an interview. We ask all teams to go through an interview process. Some of you will go through just a single interview, and some of you will be asked to do an additional interview with us. And it kind of depends on whether we feel we've gotten the information about your team and answers to questions that will help us decide whether you're a good fit for a national cohort. So you will schedule an interview, and in this interview you will be asked a series of questions. You will be asked also to commit to a minimum of 100 in-person interviews, and you will be reminded that as committing to this program, you will be required to attend all I-Corps events. And again, if you've been out to our website, you will see that there are the cohorts that are currently available listed on the website, and there are some key dates for each of those cohorts. You should look at those dates very carefully. We require that you be present for the kickoff meeting, the closing meeting, and all of the WebEx meetings. There's one WebEx meeting every week during that 7-week period. So you must commit to that both on the phone during the interview, and we will ask you to commit in writing at the time you submit your proposal, if you are invited to submit a proposal. So, and you will also be asked to commit to traveling for your customer discovery interviews. Finally, you will be asked to select a cohort to attend. You will be given the opportunity to select your preferred cohort. Next year in 2020, we'll have 13 cohorts available at this time. Typically, we place 21 to 24 teams in each cohort. We are currently showing actually 2 cohorts on our website, winter and spring, but I'm going to let you know that the winter cohorts have been filled, so the only cohorts currently available are the spring cohorts. There are 3 spring cohorts out there, and we will be adding summer cohorts soon, and then we will add fall. So if you are watching the website, you'll see those change as we begin the new year. And again, you will be able to link to that information through our website or through this link on my slide. I have listed the 3 cohorts for spring, just to let you know the locations that are available. We'll have one in Boston that begins at the end of March, one in Atlanta that begins in the latter part of April, and one in San Francisco that begins at the end of April. And again, the summer and fall cohorts for 2020 will be posted soon on our website for your review. And then finally, subsequent to the interview, if you are accepted into the program, you will be asked to submit a proposal. The proposal submission information is contained in the team's solicitation. Really, the solicitation number is currently 18-515. You can see it there on my slide. Again, you must receive an invitation to submit a proposal, and the solicitation has the complete instructions for the information that that proposal must contain. We prefer that you submit the proposal through our NSF fast lane system, but you are permitted to submit to grants.gov as well. That information is also in the solicitation. And once you are invited to submit, you will actually be given, I'll call it a soft deadline for submission. There will be a notification that comes through this portal, the Executive Summary portal, and that notification to submit a proposal will have a deadline. I'll just tell you that typically we'd like you to be as close to that deadline as possible, as it allows us to facilitate processing your proposals in time for the start of your award. And then finally, I wanted to mention one other thing, and I'm sorry I don't have a slide. There are actually 3 pathways now to be eligible for a Teams award. The first pathway would be that if you have our RPI and the TL on this project that has an academic award with NSF that has been active within the last 5 years, you are absolutely eligible to apply through this process for I-Corps award. For those of you who do not have what we call lineage with NSF, you have 2 other possible pathways to be able to participate in a national I-Corps program. The first is you could participate in one of our regional programs. We have 9 nodes and almost 100 site programs out there. If you participate in one of those programs and you've done a good job, the noder site could recommend you to a national cohort if you would like to continue your training. Typically, the regional programs are short programs. They're only a couple of weeks long, gives you a little bit of a taste for the I-Corps program, and lets you have a sense of whether you'd like to continue that training. And again, if you do not have NSF lineage, the noder site could provide a recommendation letter, and you could be eligible for a national cohort under that recommendation. The third way is the noder site might be willing to provide a sponsorship to you. The nodes are able to sponsor some of the teams that come into our national cohort. And of course, if you're participating in a regional node program, you could talk to them about sponsorship as well. So those are the 3 ways to be eligible.